guys. Okay. Well, today I thought we'd do a video about a subject that once almost got me bounced from YouTube, okay? How times have changed. This is a subject that has now come up again and seems to be, how will we put, more allowed to be discussed these days. How time changes things. Amazing. It is the subject of excess death, okay? What is excess death? Very simply put, statisticians figure out, try to estimate how many people will die a day, a month, a year, expected death rates, okay? They adjust for age population, they adjust for, whatever, certain diseases that are floating. They make adjustments, they try to figure, okay, look, we expect this many people to die. For the last 2 years, they expect this, they get this. How strange. How very strange. Well, finally, this subject is going to be brought up. But first, let us go a little deeper into what we are talking about here. Because there are certain people, there are now doctors and very smart people, finally, who have been raising questions and finally getting some exposure. This discussion, this debate will be taking place in England. Of course, it will not be taking place here because, this is the United States of Pfizer. We do not talk about these things here. But in England, they are going to be bringing this up. This will be a debate that will be happening in Parliament on January 16th. We are going to get back to this. We are going to get back to this. But first, let us dive into the discussion of what exactly it is that we are talking about. This is an interview from GB News being conducted by Nigel Farage. We are going to be listening to Professor Angus Dalgleish, okay? Not Angus Young, guitarist from AC/DC. Angus Dalgleish, professor, okay? And doctor of oncology, professor. This guy knows his shit, okay? We're going to listen to what he has to say first.
I'm wondering about this, Angus, because I'm looking at excess deaths during the pandemic, but equally before that, clearly the rate of death in Britain will grow with an ageing population.
Yes, it will. But these figures are meant to be adjusted for that.
Meant to be, yeah.
Meant to be adjusted for that and age adjusted as well. And I've seen the very raw figures, and they are quite worrying because there's excess deaths of the younger people going on, not just in the older population, right, but in the people under 40 and the real peaks between 40 and 64, 65.
You get that? You listening? We will continue.
Now, this is something that is highly unusual and highly alarming. It was initially dismissed as due to people not getting statins. Remember Chris Whitty said this, which I thought was really quite alarming because you don't get offered statins till you're over 55, 60, so it can't possibly be involved with that group. Now, the one major thing we said was lockdown. The effect of lockdown and everything it did, this would go bang on to excess deaths due to cancer and various other things.
Because of misdiagnosis.
Misdiagnosis, mistreatments, everything. But there's something far worse than this. Now, when you actually look at these figures that we have, they're the same in Europe, in Australia, in other places too. And one of the things that I flagged up, and nobody's taken any real notice of, and it's even more pertinent now, is that others have pointed out this excess death started and correlates with the vaccine program. So it doesn't mean to say it's associated, but why hasn't it been looked at?
That seems pretty weird, huh? I pointed this out a year ago, and what happened to me? I got told by YouTube, get rid of this video or get rid of your channel. I had to make a choice. I didn't have the scientific backing or the backing of major pharmaceutical companies to stand behind me at the time. But here we are a year later, and how many deaths later? And now we are bringing it up again.
So it doesn't mean to say it's associated, but why hasn't it been looked at? Why hasn't it been really, really suddenly looked at? And it hasn't, because myself and other colleagues have raised this ad nauseum, and we get absolutely nothing but to say it's all expected.
Why do you think it hasn't been looked at? You do not have to be rocket scientists to figure this out, okay? That is your answer, okay? There's no fucking mystery.
The claim is, Angus, from the establishment claim is that having the vaccine saved a huge number of lives, and that whilst there are some who suffer from side effects, they are a tiny percentage.
That is what they claim. Well, I personally don't believe it at all, because one of the things that you get taught when you're at medical school, if you know two people with a condition, then it's very common. Well, I find it very difficult to find people who don't know someone who's had an adverse effect from the vaccine.
If you find two people with the same condition, it's a common.
And the bottom line, it wouldn't matter so much if the vaccines were doing something against something which was killing us, but it's not. The COVID against which the vaccines were against has long since left the earth.
Long since left the earth. Oh, but wait a minute. I have people like a Dr. Seth MacFarlane who are telling me, oh, it's protect. Protect against what exactly? Dr. Seth, douchebag.
But hang on a second. We're told that COVID's coming back, and
yeah, but it's a different one, and it will not be affected by the vaccine. Whatever they tell you, the companies tell you that they've got bivalent vaccines which will protect against the vaccine. Well, I can assure you they don't. I mean, they got passed in 8 mice, and you can't tell anything from 8 mice. Only when you can do those programs properly in a community can you make those sort of claims. But I disagree that any of those claims can be justified.
All right, you listening, douchebag Seth? Huh? Debunked, Mr. Debunked, left the earth 2 years ago, this COVID, okay? This vaccine now, bivalent, bullshit. But, I mean, what does he know? He is only professor and doctor of oncology, okay? He is not creator of TV show. He obviously doesn't know what he's talking about.
does your scepticism about this vaccine make you a pariah in academic and medical circles?
Yes, of course it does. It does, because there is a groupthink that thinks and accepted it's very good, it's safe and effective. When I was trained as a clinical scientist to look at the facts and to constantly change my opinion depending on the facts. And this is what's going on. The facts are changing. And at some stage, well, I point out in the big American flu crisis of 1977, when they were dying, the soldiers were dying in their 30s. They rushed out a vaccine program. 42 million people were vaccinated. And then there were reports of Guillain-Barré, which is this assembling paralysis, which is not uncommon with a lot of vaccines. And instead of denying it, they sent people out into the field. And they came back and said, yes, it definitely goes. And do you know what they did? They turned around and they said, well, no one's dying of the flu anymore. Let's get rid of the vaccine.
What? His problem with vaccines? No, there's no problem with vaccine. Right? It's good vaccine, safe and effective. I recommend for everyone to get. Dr. Seth MacFarlane, you listening? No, you're not listening. You don't listen to this. You listen to this. Okay? We see you, you sons of bitches. We fucking see you. Next bit of business, okay? As I said at the beginning, there is a debate scheduled for January 16th in the Parliament of the United Kingdom that is going to finally get onto the subject of excess death. We're going to bring this up. I will now take you to one of my favorite channels that has been in the last couple of years on this subject of all the coof and the bullshit that go with it. This is Dr. John Campbell. He is an academic teacher and of nursing, school of nursing, but he's a PhD. He is a doctor, okay? In fact, if you go to his YouTube page, he has a PDF file that you can download the book he wrote on practical nursing. This guy is not imbecile like me in fucking helmet and mask and sunglasses. No, he has many years. You will see. He is old. I am going to use this and I hope he doesn't. Well, he can claim me if he wants. I don't care. I make no money off this anyway. Maybe you can scratch a nickel or two from. Beautiful. I like your channel. You do good work. He is now going to be disgusting. And disgusting it is. He's going to be discussing the upcoming event and the very curious insertion of the World Economic Foundation into this situation. Watch and you will see.
Now, you probably know that there's going to be this debate in the UK Parliament about excess deaths led by Andrew Bridgen. He's going to lead that debate in the Houses of Parliament in the UK. But it turns out he's been given another offer. An invitation arrived today to speak at this plush-sounding event in Davos on January the 16th, the day I'm due to lead a debate in the House of Commons about worrying trends in excess deaths.
What a coincidence!
What a coincidence.
Yeah, that's exactly what I said.
It concerns me that MPs are being offered this sort of jolly, which some might argue could amount to an advantage, as defined by the Bribery Act 2010. You now have to choose between Davos or Westminster.
Look, we have the WEF. Here is our ass. Take a look.
So quite interesting there. Is he going to be going? No, Mr. Bridgen is going to carry on with the debate in the House of Commons about excess deaths. Needless to say, I won't be going.
An all expense paid trip to fucking Switzerland? An advantage to meet with members of the World Economic Foundation Leadership Council? An advantage? What are you talking about? Yeah. What an advantage.
Well, I'm pleased to see that Mr. Bridgen is going to be doing the job he's paid for, to represent his constituents in Parliament rather than going off to Davos. But I'm sure he will be missing a very nice dinner.
Kudos to you, Member of Parliament, okay? High quality. Tell me, where should we send the flowers? Arkid, this shit is out of control. It's out of fucking control, and it has to fucking stop. We live in interesting times, okay? The Chinese curse is definitely upon us. It is time to embrace this, and time for this. Nuremberg, we need a second Nuremberg to start. Enough of this bullshit, okay? Well, I hope you enjoyed this video. It was a pleasure to make. High quality. You know, I have a good time doing this stuff. It makes me feel so warm inside. And especially in the dark, cold months of winter, I need all the warmth I can get. There is a world that goes around that none of us are actually in. We are out in the pastures. And you know what else they stick in pastures? I'm just saying. Out!